Hello everyone, welcome back to a new class. My name is YOKE. How you doing? Today's class is going to be on how to make a simple dress with mixed fabric. Yeah, this is going to be used for the main dress, while this will be used to mix it up at the neck region and also for the sleeve, which is going to come out so beautiful. And if this is your first time of checking out this channel, please make sure you subscribe and follow me on Instagram, YOKE Signatures, and on Facebook, Sewing Innovations. You can check out my other channel, Pattern Drafting with YOKE's Kitchen, and please make sure you subscribe there. In case you are also interested in the sewing tools, ensure you contact us through the contact number in the description box below. So right now, let's get started. I have my fabric folded here. How do you know the amount of fabric to fold? All you need is the largest circumference, which is the hip circumference. If yours is the bust, you use the bust circumference. So for this measurement, the largest circumference is 40 inches for the hip. So all you have to do is to divide it by 4, which will give you 10, and then add extra 3 to 4 inches to it. To have, here I have 14. So it's actually 10 plus 4 to make it 14. And after doing that, then you need the length of the dress you want to make. This is a short dress of 31 inches plus seam allowance at the hem, making 32, which is what I have here. The next thing are the vertical measurements: half of the armhole, which is 7.5, the waist measurement, which is 16.5, the hip measurement, which is 23, and the length of the dress, which will sum totals to 32. So let's quickly insert the necessary measurement. The first thing will be the 3 inches, 8 inches standard for the slope. And come down here by 1 inch. For a small side, you can go down by 3/4. Is found. The next thing will be to insert half of the shoulder measurement. Shoulder measurement is 7.5. It's actually 15 divided by 2 to give us 7.5. So for plus size, like for me it is 8.5. Then you move forward to have something like this, but this is 7.5. Come here to insert 7.5. That is formed. Then we quickly insert the horizontal measurement. The bust measurement is 38 inches, which when you divide by 4, you have 9.5. Because this is a free top, you can just make it 10. So instead of 9.5, you can add ease of 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch. That totally depends on your preference. Then 1 inch for the side seam allowance. Going to the waist circumference is 30 inches, which when I divide by 4 is going to give me 7.5. But because this is a free dress, you just want it to be free and then pass through your boobs easily. So instead of the 7.5 inches, you can add extra 1 to 1.5 inches to that. So if I had extra 1 inch, it will be 8.5. If it's 1.5, I'm going to make it 9. 1 inch for side seam allowance. Going to the hip circumference is 40 inches. So when I divide that by 4, I'm going to have 10. Then I will add extra 1 inch for ease. That makes it 11. 1 inch for the side seam allowance. Now for the hem, you want it to be a little bit free. So all I'll do now is to take the measurement of whatever I have here, which is 12, and add extra 1.5 to 2 inches to it, because it is a short dress. If it is short, you don't want it to be too flary because it's going to look awkward. So just between 1.5 to 2 inches is okay for a short dress. Here I have 12. So I'm just going to make this 13.5. So I just added about 1.5, or let me make it 2 to make it 14. use your hip curve or just your straight ruler. So from the lower part here, you can just come up by 3/4 to 1/2 inch. And I'll just blend it down here. So we are as good as done. So quickly, the neckline and the armhole region, just get the midpoint here from the slope to the chest line. From there, going by 3/4 inch. For the neckline, it depends on how high or low you want it to be. It's going to have a zipper. So now for the neck width, I can just make it 3.5. And also 3.5 for the depth. That's for the front. For the back, just come down by 1 inch or 1.5. So we are good as done. So before we now cut up the side we want to mix with the other fabric, so I'm going to cut it all out, cut the back and then the facing before we do that. So I've added all the seam allowance everywhere. Then here, don't forget to add 1/2 inch for the shoulder seam allowance. Back neckline and the back armhole, because we are going to use it to cut the back. This is what the dress looks like. Can you see how beautiful that is? I'm going to fold the same way and then cut for the back. I have folded for the back, as you can see, but the only thing I did now before cutting would be to measure 1 inch from the folded part inward and then draw a straight line. That's going to be for the zipper allowance. Just place it this way. Can you see that? Then I'll have to cut all through, and then I've cut out the back panel now, as you can see. So you have to do is to notch. When you are drafting, draft on the wrong side of your fabric. So this is what the back looks like. What I'm going to do now is to slit it open. Now we can finish the front. To do quickly is to cut out the facing, and after that I can start with the mixture of the addition of the other pattern fabric. Facing for both the front and the back has been cut out, as you can see. Then let's concentrate on the front. Here you can decide to have the yoke on both the front and the back, but I'm going to concentrate on the front, and then it is the same method that you will use for the back. So I'm going to set that aside. Just take your measuring tape, measure like 1.5 from the folded parts, the armhole region, and measure 2 inches to 2.5 depending on your preference. So that's where the yoke is going to be using the other fabric. Now remember, we will need, when we cut this up, we can't just cut it up like that. We will need 1/2 inch on both sides to be able to join it together. Now is to add extra 1/2 inch and then cut on that point. So by the time I'm cutting out this very one, I'll be adding 1 inch to that. This is what I have now. Let me just open that up. So this will be the pattern to cut out on the other fabric. Can you see this? So in case you want to have the same yoke on the back, you're going to use the same method after the zipper. But I'm just going to focus on the front. Can you see? Then I can set this aside and get the other fabric. I have the fabric here, just a piece of fabric, and I'm going to fold it. Can you see? Then place this on it. So you can just pin it down. So every other one is going to be cut the same, but 1 inch is going to be added here. And then when you are cutting the 1 inch, make sure you have more fabric to this side because we are still going to restructure it. What I have. This is the wrong side. So this is the front panel. So we're just going to trim off the excesses. Place the 1/2 inch on it so that we can trim it off perfectly. You see, so the neckline is just wonderful. I'm going to blend this up till this point, just a little. So we have everything intact now. Can you see? So by the time we sew it up, we have everything perfect again. So can you see that? So this is what we have. So in case you want the back to be the same, you just have to use the same method to cut the back. So it is time for us to cut the sleeve. I have my basic sleeve here. You can decide to use any sleeve at all. Like for instance, if you want to attach a gathered fabric to this, all you have to do is to get a long strip of fabric, which is times 2.5 to times 3 of whatever measurement you have here on fold. So you have it longer, then you can gather it up and attach the basic sleeve. But I just want my normal basic sleeve. So now let us start sewing it up. Let's start with the front panel. I marked on the right side of my fabric. So what I'm going to do now is this. So this is the right side. So all I have to do now is to place this way and then sew in 1/2 inch. The same thing here, 1/2 inch. So can you see everything just matches well? So this is what we have. The next thing now is to attach the facing. Can you see? So the facing, right side facing each other. Can you see everything is intact since we followed that? So 1/2 inch, and also for the back I'm going to sew in 1/2 inch for the facing, and then join the shoulder. I left 1/2 inch at the shoulder, and the necklines have been fixed, as you can see. And make sure you hem this lower part, but because I'm making a tutorial, that is why I neglected that. Do not neglect that, and don't forget to notch the neckline region. And also the back, and you see that. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to join the shoulders, which is very easy before we attach the sleeve. You can see everything also match at the shoulder. How do you fix the shoulder line? Just make sure you open one of the facing. Can you see that? So these are for the front or the back. You can use either the front or the back. So make sure right side are facing each other this way. So this has the 2 parts. Then use this to cover this up. Can you see? Then you sew 1/2 inch to both sides, and you have a perfect and neat finishing. After attaching the shoulder, this is how beautiful the outcome is with that method. Can you see that? So the next thing I'm going to do now is to attach the sleeve to both sides, and after that will I now take the seam allowance we left, the 1 inch seam allowance by the side. Then you hem the lower part, fix the zipper. This is what the dress looks like after attaching the sleeve. So with the yoke, it's just so beautiful. So you can use 2 patterned fabric for this, or plain and pattern, however you like it. So imagine you having this yoke at the back too. It's just going to be wonderful. So the next thing and the last thing I'm going to do now is to turn to the wrong side. So the next thing is, from the edge, just determine where you want the zipper to stop, and at that point you just close down by 1 inch, then fix in your zipper, which I'm going to do, and then place on the mannequin for you. This is what the dress we've just made look like, and you can see it's just so beautiful and nice. You can have any type of sleeve at all, a flutter sleeve, circle sleeve, a gathered sleeve, ruffle sleeve, any type of sleeve at all. So just ensure you make yours and share with us on our Facebook group, Sewing Innovations, and you can tag me on Instagram, Bloki's Signatures. So I have to go right now. Don't forget to check out my other channel, Pattern Drafting with Bloki's. I love you guys.